It was a normal morning. Electorates began queuing very early, some as early as 6 a.m. to cast their ballots peacefully and dash to work. Early reports suggested the process began smoothly, but eyebrows were raised about the presence of heavily armed security personnel, as many as 6 per polling station across the constituency. Political party agents were vigilant and ordinary people watched from afar, but it was an unusual election day. Heavily armed masked men in bulletproof vests, dressed in black polo shirts and khaki trousers marked NSC as agents of the National Security Council, seen in police pickups, crisscrossed the main streets towards Bauleshi, a known NDC stronghold. The arrival of the operatives in Ramblestown surprises all. About 25 hooded men in 5 pickups or so jump off. In a well-orchestrated plan, they run across the compound where voters had queued waiting for their turn, creating fear and panic. Journalists begin taking pictures, and that provokes the indiscriminate mayhem visited on them. A senior immigration officer at the scene is captured blazing an SOS call as he takes cover. In this video, the suspected NPP Invisible Force members are captured beating a man mercilessly, kicked in the face, whilst others pounce on any civilian in sight, punching them and beating others with the butt of their guns. The chaos forces people to flee as policemen try desperately in vain to restrain the NSC agents. After about 6 minutes, they proceed to their next target, the residence of the NDC parliamentary candidate, Delali Kesi, a few yards away behind the Bauleshi Presby Basic 1 JHS polling station. His house is besieged by the armed men, threatening to shoot as they are confronted by the NDC candidate supporters. They point guns as they demand access to search the house, open fire with live bullets, leaving at least 18 injured. 2 near-fatal cases were recorded. Bullet shells and blood stains outside the residence attract onlookers, while irate persons seeking to fight back are seen being calmed by the police.
Don't take the laws into your own hands. The police, we are managing the situation.
Senior officers, including Director in Charge of Operations Greater Accra, Chief Superintendent Kwesifori, rush to the scene but look on helplessly.
They are not your men.
I don't know those who came here.
Do you know the men on the ground?
This is something that we need to investigate. But I don't know those who came here. So all my policemen are not marked. You can see from wherever.
So you know the men on the ground. You know, I know your men on the ground.
I know the men on the ground,
and they are not marked.
And I can see them when I see them.
MP for Ningo Pram Pram, Sam George, is seen questioning the shooting incident. He is confronted for daring to face them, and he gets his first slap. Listen and watch carefully as one of the men shouts, "This is the beginning of 2020. In the chaos, police reinforcement and military teams arrive, armed but unable to stop the violence. The masked men return to the school compound, finish up with more beatings before setting off. The voting center is deserted while officers try to secure the ballot box and voting materials. NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofosuambofo rushes to the scene, meets the traumatized candidate, and announces NDC's decision to boycott the polls after a brief meeting to prevent the violence from escalating.
Today is a very sad day for democracy, and the NDC as a party cannot and will not be part of this exercise. Therefore, we are asked our agents to withdraw.
In less than an hour, more police couples arrive at the scene. It is obvious that the operation was planned on the blind side of some service commanders as military officers in the pickups seemed blacked out and had no orders. News spreads fast on radio, on various online portals, TV, and of course, social media, attracting more officials to the scene. MPP General Secretary John Buedu arrives and blames the NDC for castrating the violence.
You see, this is the impression that opponents want to create in order to scare people from coming to vote.
NDC hurriedly arranges news conference to restrain supporters who besiege the party headquarters, demanding directives to fight back. MPP reacts almost immediately, and this is how the Director of Communications and MP for Adenta, Ayawaso Samwa, summarizes their position.
The NDC leadership has behaved recklessly, cowardly manner. They appear not to have been prepared for the election. This was an orchestrated attempt which has failed.
Statements condemning the violence begin to pour in. Codeo, security analysts, civil society groups, the UNDP are amongst the first. Former President John Dramani Mahama cuts short his campaign tour in the Volta region and dashes to Accra to meet victims on admission at a 37 military hospital. But before that, he sends a strong message to the MPP and President Akufo-Addo.
And I'm sounding a warning to the MPP. We are going to match them boot for boot. We respect the constitution of this country. And NDC is a democratic party. And that's why we abide by the rules of the constitution. But the same constitution says that Ghanaians should resist anybody who attempts to subvert the constitution. And when you go rampaging with forces and intimidating people when they should come out and vote, you are subverting Ghana's constitution, and we have a right to resist you.
Codeo issues preliminary report citing one instance where a police officer is assaulted for questioning one of the NSC operatives at Roman Ridge polling station. EC reacts, insisting the election was very peaceful, free and fair. Election results are declared. Turnout very low, confirming the violent incident. 19.83% of the over 88,000 in the voters register participated. Calls for the head of the IGP, David Asante Pietu, intensifies. The police administration issues a statement announcing immediate and thorough investigations. Minister of State in charge of national security at the office of the President, Brian Echampong, appears defiant and claims in an interview the men were from his outfit and acted on orders based on intelligence. Hear him speak on Accra-based City FM.
There were some uniformed and some plainclothes security operatives. It happens all the time.
So did this include people who were wearing masks?
Absolutely. You saw them there. They were not hiding.
Government's posture and that of EC provokes public anger. Officers in the Ghana Armed Forces and the police begin to leak photos and videos exposing identities of some of the secret NSC operatives and their bases. In the heat of the public discourse and brewing tension, President Akufo-Addo jets off on an 8-day tour of South Africa, Ethiopia, and the US, where he will join a fundraising event in Washington, D.C. to build a national cathedral in Ghana. Thus, 3 days after the incident, and he fails to visit patients on admission. His absence attracts more criticisms. More than a week after the incident, no arrest has still been made. An updated police statement only says 12 people have been questioned, and these are all victims, including the assaulted MP, Sam George. For now, there's still uncertainty, and security analysts fear more violence in 2020. Political parties and some CSOs have, however, served notice through a demonstration, sending a strong signal to government. The police are yet to invite the National Security Minister, Brian Echampong, who is under pressure to resign or be sacked. A 3-member commission of inquiry chaired by former Shraj boss Francis Emil Short is now tasked to investigate the matter. Proceedings will be telecast live, but the opposition NDC has already served notice it does not trust the commission's work, citing possible bias and cover-ups. Refers to the former IGP and Akufo regime, Mr. Patrick Kwatine Champon and Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu as MPP apparatchiks. For now, Ghanaians will take a wait-and-see posturing as doubt lingers on, with fears heightening as the country approaches a much bigger election in 2020.